Scorpio, welcome to your weekly reading. Let's get started and see what messages we have for Scorpio, Sun, Moon, and Rising positions for the week ahead. Keeping in mind that these are general readings and may not resonate for everyone. So make sure to check out your other placements to receive all your messages. And if you'd like a personal reading, you can find the link for that in the description below. All right, my friends, let's get started. Let's see here. What is the energy surrounding Scorpio for the week ahead? Oh, interesting. Seeing higher power and clean it up come through right away. And there's message in a bottle also coming through for you. Oh boy, lots of cards. Okay. Bottom of the deck is Observer in reverse. We'll talk about that in a minute. Let's see. The first card out for you was Higher Power in reverse. We saw Clean It Up, Message in a Bottle, Unfinished Symphony, and Truth Be Told. So interesting. Right now, you may expect some sort of message this week or some kind of sign that gives you this message. And it's about the truth, about something that you've been needing closure on or needing to clean up. Just the energy around a certain situation needs to be cleaned up. And it feels to me like this is all part of a bigger storyline for you. One that is going to take you into a place where you can examine what you are giving energy to and where your attention is focused, because that is essentially what will expand. And that's sort of the message coming through this card, is that there is an opportunity for you coming up right now this week where you're going to get the chance to really see what you've been focusing on. Where's your attention been? What have you been thinking about, giving your attention to, giving your energy to, and focusing on? It could be that you're thinking about situations where your expectations were let down, where you may be holding on to resentments. And it's interesting. It's almost like you're being guided to sort of take a step back and look at things from a higher perspective. This is the higher power card. So it's like, look at things through that lens to see, what is this teaching you? What is the truth about some unresolved scenario that you're still carrying? I feel like you're going to get a message about that this week. It could be a message from a person, or it could be a sign that you receive because you're paying attention. Hopefully you're being mindful about what's going on around you because it's giving you information, and it's all directed at helping you clean something up, where you may be getting this opportunity so that you can look at something from a different perspective to understand, what is the lesson in this moment for me? What am I learning about where I focus my attention and how that can sort of focus my energy, and what's expanding around me? Is it because I'm focused on something and I'm seeing more evidence of it? That would sort of be where I feel this reading is taking you. The bottom of the deck is the Observer card. And when this card shows up in the reverse, it can really be a time to look at where you're stuck and to offer forgiveness. Isn't that interesting, seeing mending behind there? But really, this card is a message of sort of widening your scope beyond just yourself to see what's really going on here. Do you know what I mean? It's interesting. This could be a time where you are sort of realizing that you might be stuck on a past situation or a past circumstance that let you down, and that you need to look at this before you're going to be able to move forward, which is sort of interesting because that's the card here. And so there is a need to release resentments, Scorpio, and allow yourself to examine something from a different perspective, because nothing but the truth of this situation will offer you the closure that you're looking for. If you're looking to stop focusing on a certain situation, it's almost like you have to take your energy back from that situation by being really honest with yourself about what your end of it was. Not focusing so much on feeling resentment about the other party's responsibilities, but really just looking at your side of the street to see, what do I need to clean up? What do I need to really be honest with myself about? How can I look at this from a different perspective so that I don't feel so stuck in this past experience that needs closure? And bottom of the deck, as I'm talking, I shuffled this deck before starting the reading, is a Five of Swords. So that makes me think that there may have been a conversation that happened in the past that you haven't let go of, that you're still replaying in your mind, but not in the way that allows you to let it go, but in a way that almost amplifies the resentment and keeps this past narrative alive in the present moment, as opposed to looking at it with an honest perspective to bring in closure. As I cut the deck, now we've got the Five of Swords and the World card. So it's like, it's time to close the loop. It's time to close the loop on that past experience, but to do so by looking at your role in it very honestly with yourself. It's not like you have to call this person up and say, hey, I've realized my role in this and I'm taking responsibility. You could do that if that's where you want to go with it, but I don't think that's even necessary for other individuals in the same moment. You may just need to make peace with yourself here. You might not need to actually pick up the phone and call someone, but I feel like you're going to be receiving signs, messages. Maybe this person will contact you this week to say, we need to talk about what happened in the past. Let's just get your full row out here. Yeah, look at that. See the Three of Pentacles in reverse here with the Queen of Cups in reverse and the Emperor. So isn't that interesting? And the Knight of Swords on the bottom of the deck. So that's an interesting sort of way of looking at this whole situation, is that because this situation from the past is still open-ended, it hasn't been cleaned up, you don't have closure, you haven't really looked at what happened honestly here from your perspective, there is a resistance to form new collaborations or work with people in the same capacity, because there's a lack of closure, there's a lack of clarity. This is sort of creating a moment where you don't trust yourself. Potentially or maybe you don't trust other people because you keep looking behind your shoulder to see who your competition is. Who are you comparing yourself to in the first place, Scorpio? And why are you convinced that there's competition? There's almost jealousy here, envy here. There's looking back at something without having a sufficient understanding of it, and sort of maybe making assumptions. And it's interesting. I feel like this whole situation is going to shift when I see that Knight of Swords. I feel like you have been giving a lot of energy and thought to this. And so the storyline is expanding in the present. And it's expanding in a way that you might not see coming, which is kind of intriguing, actually. Let's clarify some of these cards. I feel like this whole situation needs to move towards healing. Interesting. Seeing the Chariot and the Star. So this whole thing needs to move in a different direction because it's holding you back, and you're keeping this past narrative alive by thinking about it. Let's look at that Three of Pentacles. This is you not wanting to sort of create those same bonds with people. Look at that Emperor. You're seeing this Emperor come out in the upright here because I feel like this is a time where you're like, I'll just do everything by myself. I don't want to work with other people. I don't want to get involved with other people. Other people always let me down. Other people fail my expectations. I'm just going to do this by myself. So you might find yourself sort of solitary or isolated or standing alone in a situation where you may have invited others to join you before or to support you. You may have been more open. Seeing the Queen of Cups in reverse says we need forgiveness here to move forward. And there's the Wheel of Fortune. We need forgiveness, compassion, empathy, understanding. There's a lot of clarity lacking here. And it's because of this past conversation that never got closed off properly with another person. It's interesting, but it's moving again. I think this is moving back into your present. It's a look at that 7 of Wands, 2 of Pentacles. Yeah, there's a part of you that just doesn't know what to prioritize. Should you keep focusing on this and giving it your energy, or should you just sort of look at it with honest eyes so you can clean it up for yourself and then move forward away from it? That's going to be up to you, Scorpio. That's totally going to be up to you. But it almost feels like you're going to get the opportunity to look at this again. Oh, there was another card flipped over with that 2 of Pentacles. Oh, it's the Queen of Wands. Wow. So that's interesting. This situation really triggers you when you think about it. It's very triggering. And this energy could belong to you or the other person. So you and this other person are sort of setting each other off a bit. There's this sort of anger, resentment still left over that is coming up in the present energy for you. So really looking at things honestly so you can release that resentment. Why is this Emperor in reverse? Okay, yeah, because you're exhausted. You've been carrying this around for so long. For, it'll vary depending on who's listening, but you've been carrying this on your back. It's time to let it go. In the sense of put those wands down. You don't have to carry them around anymore. It's not serving you to do that. And I feel like there may be some movement here towards a new beginning through releasing this past narrative. Now, again, I am kind of picking up on that for some of you, this is going to lead to a new beginning where you and this person have a sort of a moment to rehash things out. But for some of you, this is just you leaving it in the background. This is you leaving it in the rear view. This is you being honest with yourself by putting these 10 wands down and seeing that it doesn't serve you to hang on to it or give it any more energy than you have already. But, I'm really getting this feeling that for some of you, this could be bringing someone back in for a conversation, and you're being guided to look at it with fresh eyes to sort of, ultimately, this reading is guiding you to release resentments. Will you release the resentment so that you can continue with this person in a relationship or not is going to be up to you. And it'll depend on the situation. I think for some of you, the majority of you, because of the way this reading looks, is that you just need to set yourself free from this because you're ultimately the one hanging on to all of these wands. And it may be time to let them go. And I feel like the key to that is surrender and releasing resentments and accepting the truth about this whole situation. Doing the work. Interesting. Do the work. Look at it honestly. Anything else from this deck for Scorpio? Okay, we're seeing here, do the work and learning experience. So this whole thing was designed to teach you something. And when I see these oracle cards, nothing but the truth will be accepted right now. That's the only thing that's going to set this free, is you've got to do the work to look at the truth and to see what was the lesson. What were you supposed to learn from this situation? I often phrase that question like, if I wasn't taking this so personally, which is the resentments, right? If I wasn't taking this so personally, what would this situation be trying to teach me about myself? Not about the other person, but about myself. So do the work this week, Scorpio, and I think you'll find that you'll be set free of something that you may have been giving a lot of your energy to because you haven't let go of that disappointment, and holding on to those resentments is only creating a burden for you. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to leave it at that. Thank you so much for joining me for this reading. I hope it's been helpful, and I look forward to reading for you again soon, my friends. Take care, and I'm sending you so much love.